Hello, Sagittarius risings. Welcome to our monthly zodiac reading for the month of November 2025. We have a lot to get into, and a lot of things are shifting and moving in your sign this month. So let's not waste any time. As always, we are going to put an overall energy theme for the month. We will pull tarot for each week. We will go over those tarot messages, talk about the astrological transits occurring during those weeks, then discuss how these two can align with one another. Then we will pull clarifying messages. So let's see what Sagittarius risings need to know for the month of September. Attend to the details. Last quarter moon in Virgo. So Virgo is about refinement. Virgo is also about simplicity. But when we have that last quarter moon, it means that there are challenges. There are obstacles, right? That we're trying to maybe overcome, things that we are trying to refine. And so this is what it's could be, and it feels like distractions, right? Are you allowing yourself to be distracted? Are you kind of emotionally in a place where you would rather be distracted than deal with how uncomfortable you feel? So when it comes to the month ahead, we're going to see what exactly you need to focus on the details about. Here, let's see what the weeks have in store. Two of Swords here in this first week. So here in this first week, we have Mars, the planet of action, aggression, desire, initiative, taking a stroll into your first house. So the first house is the self, right? So this could be that there's a lot of focus on you. This is also your physical body. This is your physical appearance. So this could be involving your health in some way. Mars is about inflammation or can trigger inflammation. So just be mindful of that. But Mars moving into your house of self, you could be taking on a much more assertive or assertive approach, taking more initiative without being prompted. Based on the card, that may not be the case, but definitely having that desire to take more initiative, right? This is also the week that we have the full moon within the sign of within the full moon within the sign of Taurus. Full moons are a buildup of energy. They are illuminating. They are a point of completion, and that full moon is illuminating things that we need to see. For you guys, Taurus sits in your sixth house. So Virgo governs the sixth house naturally. The sixth house governs our day-to-day. It governs the day-to-day. So it could mean that with this full moon within the sign of Taurus, the full moon is illuminating things in your day-to-day that have become distractions, things that are preventing you or challenging you from focusing on the details. Virgo, the sixth house, also focuses on your physical health. This is your house of health and your house of work habits. Okay? So again, I wasn't even thinking about your health. But when I said inflammation, just be mindful that your day-to-day habits could be causing inflammation, especially here in this first week. And the full moon is going to illuminate that, right? This is also the week that we have Venus moving into the sign of Scorpio on the 6th. Venus is the planet of love, money, beauty, and value, and it is moving into your 12th house. This is your house of the subconscious. This is your house of mental health. This is the house of hidden enemies, kind of like we are our own worst enemy, and the house of like self-sabotage, right? So when it comes to Venus moving into your house, it could mean that you may need to show yourself more compassion and more love to actually maybe help you work through this this time, right? To maybe help you, because there's something with the Two of Swords, there's something that you're avoiding. You're not wanting to either make a choice, you're not wanting to choose a path, but there's something that you're avoiding, right? With the Two of Swords. Two represents choices and decisions. It represents relationships and balance and harmony. But when it comes to this, it feels more like you're avoiding something, right? So with Venus moving into the sign of Scorpio, it can provide you an opportunity to really look at your mental health and maybe ask yourself, why? Why am I afraid of this thing? Why am I avoiding this particular, why am I avoiding making different choices? Why am I avoiding making a choice? This is also the week that Uranus will station retrograde, or it's already stationed retrograde, but that retrograde is going to hit the 0 degree within Gemini before it transitions back into the sign of Taurus. Again, which is your health. This is your house of daily habit, where you need to focus on the details. You need to focus on refining things and simplifying things, right? But you can't do that if there's something that you're avoiding emotionally. I really do get the feeling that that's what's happening, is that you are avoiding something emotionally. Here in the second week, the High Priestess. So again, we have two cards associated with the moon right here. The moon governs our emotions, but it also governs our intuition, right? You know what you need to do. And that's shown right here with the High Priestess. She knows what she needs to do. She listens to her intuition. She listens to that intuitive guidance, and she listens to that inner knowing. Not only does she listen to it, but she trusts it, right? She trusts that when she listens, that what she needs to know will be revealed to her at the appropriate time. This is the week that on the 9th, Mercury is going to station retrograde within your sign, and it's actually going to station retrograde at a Virgo degree, so we have more Virgo energy. So Mercury stationing retrograde, the planet of thoughts, ideas, communication, instead of it going to be projecting outward, that energy is going to be projected inward. So we're going to be doing, so it actually could, for you guys, it could be heightening your intuition, right? When that energy of communication, of messages, of thought, ideas is directed inwards, it could actually be boosting your intuition here. And it, again, retrograding into your house, your sense of self, who you are, you actually may get like, for some of you, like you're gonna all of a sudden, it's gonna feel like you step into a whole new thing of like psychic powers. Like your intuition is just gonna be on, is what that feels like to me. On the 9th, this is when Jupiter will also station retrograde within the sign of Cancer. For you guys, Cancer sits in your 8th house. So Jupiter expands on anything that it touches, for better or for worse. When this expands, or when this energy goes retrograde, it's going to expand those emotional attachments inward, right? So Cancer is about emotional attachments, and it's also about emotional safety. It also governs the mother and is ruled by the moon, right? So it could be that there are some issues, there are some emotional things, losses that need to be tended to, okay? Losses that you've experienced in the past. It doesn't feel like anything that you're experiencing right now. It feels like there is something emotionally that needs to be addressed. Something that I think is driving a behavior that's preventing you from attending to the details. Temperance, major arcana here. Major arcana. So temperance is about balance. Again, 2, this is the 2 of Swords. The High Priestess is the 2 card. Both cards represent choice and balance. Temperance represents balance. So if you are able to attend to the details, if you are able to focus on the details, you will be able to bring yourself back to a state of balance. It's going to take time. Temperance also governs things like patience. This is the week that we've got the new moon in Scorpio. And it's happening at like I said, a Cancer. It's happening at a Cancer degree. So we've got another Cancer theme here. The moon rules Cancer. We've got 2 cards associated with the moon here. Jupiter is going retrograde within the sign of Cancer, which is not an easy house for you. That's a karmic house. It's a very challenging house. It's the house of transformation. In order for you guys to really be able to transform your life, I think, in the way you're needing to, in the way you're being guided to, you're going to have to address something emotionally. But this Temperance is also associated with you. It's associated with Sagittarius. Where is it? This is Sagittarius. Exploring this. So the thing I always tell people about Sagittarius energy, Sagittarius is about expansion, but it's expansion through exploration, right? Whether that is self-exploration or whether that is exploring the world around you. If you are not in a position to explore the world around you by traveling, experiencing new cultures, studying things like philosophy and spiritual and moral beliefs, you can turn that inward and explore yourself. Getting to know yourself, stepping into a state of awareness within who you are could be the very thing that restores a sense of balance, right? The angel here alchemizing or pouring a cup of fire and water into this cauldron, they are alchemizing it, right? Alchemy means the transformation of emotions, turning one substance into another. With the new moon happening within the sign of Scorpio, Scorpio is known as the alchemist of the zodiac. You have a new opportunity to bring balance by alchemizing these emotions through self-exploration. Okay? We also will experience a Sun-Mercury cazimi. That is when the planet Mercury, who is currently retrograde, will be sitting right on top of the sun. And the sun's light is going to amplify this energy. So again, those thoughts, those ideas, those messages, that sense of clarity is going to be coming from within. Okay? And again, Scorpio sits in your 12th house. This is your house of the subconscious, right? This is about understanding why you make the choices that you make. Why do I make these choices? Why do I feel this way? Because typically our emotions lead us to make certain choices, and we are either avoiding a specific emotion, avoiding the discomfort of addressing a particular emotion, or we're just avoiding it altogether. But if you can stand and face that emotion, accept that emotion, and understand how it drives you to make certain decisions, you can change your life. Right? So here in the last week, Saturn will station direct within the sign, and the Lovers, you have got some crazy powerful cards right here towards the end of the month. And it doesn't surprise me given all of the energy that's happening in your 1st and your 12th house. Like this is kind of like, I think they're kind of feeding each other. This is like ending and beginning, ending and beginning, ending and beginning. Like you are becoming an entirely different person here throughout this month, or at least you have the chance to. Here in this week, at the end of the week, you've got the Lovers. Again, balance. Choice and duality, or choice and balance, duality, harmony. Okay? So here, this is the week that Saturn will station direct within the sign of Pisces. This sits in your 4th house. So your 4th house is your house of home. This is your house of like intimate detail. Like it's your most intimate self, right? This is the house of home. This is your physical home. This is your emotional home, how you feel at home within your own self. This is also the home of, again, like I said, the mother, but it could be that it's bringing more as you allow yourself to address maybe these emotions or these choices that you've been avoiding, as you allow yourself to listen more to your intuition, as you allow yourself to step more into this place of balance and harmony and kind of alchemizing and going through this transition that you're going through, I keep hearing the word acceptance. You actually are going to bring more balance and harmony to your home life, right? To how you feel at home within your own skin, and then how you feel at home with others, right? Mercury will also be stationing direct. This time he's going to be stationing direct within the sign of Scorpio. So this is your 12th house. You're going to be revealing a lot of clarity, maybe even able to communicate what it is that you've been going through with someone that you're closest to. These are some killer cards. These are some killer cards. Let's see what clarifying messages we can get. Making sure my microphone was still on. So the Two of Swords, the Ten of Wands, and the Ten of Pentacles. So it feels like emotionally, or something that you've been avoiding, the reason you've been avoiding it is just because you've been working on it so long. With the Ten of Wands and the Ten of Pentacles, these are both cards because they're the 10. They've gone from the Ace, which is the 1, all the way to the 10. So this has taken time to build. The Ten of Wands feels like a very heavy burden, right? There's a very heavy burden that you feel, maybe you feel like the stability of your family, the stability of your home life, the stability of your finances, all rest on your shoulders. Even if that's not true, it doesn't mean that you don't feel like you feel that way. It almost feels like there's a lot of pressure on you. It could be maybe put on you. Maybe you feel like people in your family are putting that on you. Or it just could be the expectation that you are putting on yourself. So instead of addressing that, instead of being like, hey, I have put all of this expectation on myself, I have put all of this weight on myself to be this stable person, to be this pillar for these people, to be, again, this pillar that people expect me to be. And it's almost like all of that pressure, that those expectations that you have put on yourself, and maybe that other people have kind of inadvertently put on you, is something that you have yet to realize or yet to acknowledge. You could be avoiding the fact that, like, this is taking a toll on me. It's making me unhappy. I don't want to address the fact that I feel this way. Because the thing about emotions, when we suppress emotions, they transform into something else. For better or for worse, they will transform into something else. Grief will always transform into anger and resentment. So sadness will always transform into anger and resentment, right? But when that happens, it can actually create a lot of inflammation within the body, because it's like all that Mars, all that fire energy it's like a pressure cooker within inside the body. And the more that builds up, the more it begins to create inflammation. Okay? So just keep that in mind. But it definitely feels like with this first week, especially with the full moon within Taurus, and I think even with Mars moving into your sign, you're going to feel really driven to accomplish things maybe, but that full moon is going to show you how all of that weight, all of that expectation has kind of led you to this place where you are avoiding emotions, which again could be taking a toll on your work habits. It could be taking a toll on your health. Okay? So keep that in mind. Either way, it feels like however it's going to manifest for you, you are avoiding something. And it could be that you're avoiding the situation because, again, it's something that you've worked really, really hard for. You've put a lot of time, you've put a lot of energy, you put a lot of effort in it, and it's created a lot of stability for you. But you're having to make a choice, or you know that you need to make a decision when it comes to work and even just how you feel physically. You need to make a choice. And it could be that you are having to choose between work and how you feel physically. If your job is just physically exhausting, it feels like a very heavy weight, you may have to make that choice. I can continue to stay here, make good money, be, a pillar of stability for my family, for those that I care about, for this thing that I've worked so hard for, and it can continue to take its toll on my health, or I can let this go. It's finally run its course, because tens are the result of a completion. They are the final chapter in something. They are the ending. They are the finale. I can finally let this go. This has run its course. This chapter is closing, and now I can focus on this other thing. All right? Because it feels like maybe you have to choose between one or the other. In reality, I think what's happening is that if you were to finally let that one chapter close, the other chapter would automatically close on its own. If you feel a lot of pressure at work, a lot of stability, like, again, a lot of pressure, a lot of expectation with work, career, finances, if you were to let that go, the issues with your health, the stress, the emotions that you feel with that might actually begin to fade away all on its own. Right? So here in the second week, the High Priestess, another major arcana, the Hanged Man in reverse. So you're getting this intuitive guidance. It feels more like intuitive knowing, and you may not even realize that that's what's happening, but it's like this intuitive knowing, and you're able to recognize the things that need to be sacrificed in order for you to move forward. Move forward, not just for the sake of moving forward, but move forward with a new perspective and a new sense of clarity and even purpose. And finally, healing from past disappointments and regrets. This is a huge deal. So Mercury stationing retrograde within your first house, you guys, if you're having to choose and you're like, oh man, I really need to choose, I don't want to make this choice, I feel like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. Here, as this week transitions, or as the month moves into the second week, you're just going to get this intuitive knowing, or this intuitive sense of understanding that allows you to accept a truth, allows you to really know what needs to be sacrificed in order for you to move forward, and move forward in a place, in a way that doesn't leave a sense of regret, right? Here in the third week, Temperance, the Two of Cups, beautiful, another two. This is all about choice. You get to choose how you want to move forward. You can move forward in a way that allows you to stay where you are, avoiding your emotions, avoiding making the decisions that you know you need to make, and allowing you to continue to, ignore the details. Or you can really step into this intuitive place and come back to a state of balance. Here we have the Two of Cups. This is known as the soulmate card, but it can also represent your heart and your mind coming into a state of alignment, right? Where everything just feels in tune. And again, this is following Temperance, coming back to a state of balance, feeling like your mind and your heart are just connected and you feel very aligned and in tune. But you're gonna have to say goodbye to something. You're going to have to maybe cut your losses and walk away from something. Something where the idea of something, the separation of how do I want to say this? Having to let go of the idea of something hurts worse than actually letting go of the thing. Whether that, I don't necessarily think it's a person. I don't think it's a person, but it feels more like the idea of something again that you've committed a lot of time to. But yeah, when you realize, when you come into this state of balance, when you come into this state of alignment, you're going to have to say goodbye to something. And again, it's almost like the idea, letting go of the idea of that thing hurts worse than actually letting go of whatever it is, whether that's a job, whether that is a person, whether that is, it doesn't feel like a hobby, but it feels more imperative. It feels more like a person or a job. Here in the last week, the Lovers, another major arcana. So the Star, healing, hope, faith, connected to the future. And the Three of Wands. And now you're just kind of waiting. Waiting for your ships to come in, waiting for the right time. Again, if this is, I don't really want to say a career because it's not entirely true, because there's nothing, none of the transits are hitting any of your career or money houses. And we have 2 3s here. 2 10s, 2 3s, a number of 2s, 1 2 2, balance, choice, duality. But here in this last week, it feels like, because the Lovers can represent communication. Because in order to have a healthy relationship, in order to have a very balanced partnership, which is kind of what the Lovers represents, is that you have to be able to communicate clearly. Okay. And if you're making a choice, if you're kind of going through this evolutionary stage where you know what needs to be done, and you know that it's going to change the dynamic of not only your home life, but your career life, and everything that entails, you may be deciding, even though you feel very hopeful for the future, you may be worried about having to communicate with others. But it looks like that communication is actually going to go really, really well. Right? And you're just kind of waiting for the next move. Maybe you're waiting for the right time to finally step away from something. Okay? God, this is a killer reading. Like, there's so many synchronicities. There's so many little details. Like, they're all aligning with one another. But I'm afraid if I continue to talk about it too much, it could be confusing. But I think here in this last week, when Mercury stations direct, you're going to have a lot of clarity about what needs to be done. And you realize that maybe you're just going to have to bide your time. You're just going to have to wait for that right moment. But finally making that choice for your highest good, communicating that choice with maybe the people in your home, since Saturn is stationing direct within your 4th house. Finally really like moving forward in that way, you're going to have to communicate with other people. And that's fine, because it looks like that communication, it feels like it's going to bridge the gap. It feels like it's actually going to create a lot of hope, a lot of faith, and a lot of harmony maybe within, like I said, your with a spouse or a partner, or just within yourself. Address your addictions. What are you addicted to? Usually addictions are used as a way to escape. And addictions don't have to be alcohol. It doesn't have to be gambling. It doesn't have to be sex. It doesn't have to be any of those. It can be things like food. It can be things like doom scrolling. It could be things like avoidance. So what are your addictions? Right? Something that you're not wanting to address it. And usually, again, addictions are when we try to escape the discomfort of how we're feeling. We're trying to escape the discomfort of how we're feeling. So we indulge in different things, again, whether that is food, whether that's television, whether that's doom scrolling on social media, whether that's gaming, whether that's, again, just, it could be drugs or alcohol, whatever it is. You need to address them. And not only do you need to address them, but you need to address why they are occurring. What are you avoiding when you step into this escape? What are you avoiding? And it's usually some sort of very uncomfortable emotion. Nurture yourself first. Nurture. And I think I said that with Venus moving into Scorpio, this could be like loving yourself, stepping into a place of compassion and understanding for what you're experiencing, what you're going through, the changes and transformations that are occurring in your life. Really stepping into this place of nurturing yourself first can actually help you heal. And again, really, really just, it feels like you, in this second week, you're going to hear this hit of just intuitive knowing. And it's just going to allow you to move forward with this state of clarity and just this new perspective. Like I said, that allows you to move forward without a sense of regret. Trust the divine plan. Trust it. Because when you, and it almost feels like this soulmate energy, this like Two of Cups here with these two people locked hands, that could be like you and the divine, you and God, you and source, you and the universe. When you trust that the choices, that the things, that the separations, that the things that are ending are for your highest good, you can come into this state of acceptance, which can bring you this place of balance and harmony and alchemization. And it feels more like connectedness, just you being connected to yourself. Trust that whatever is happening, whatever changes are happening, whatever is driving you to have to make this choice that you're avoiding, trust that it is happening for a reason. Begin to explore the Three of Wands. Look at that. This person is standing on a cliff and they're like, which wave do I want to jump on? Which one's going to be the right one for me? Who knows? But you can really begin to explore that opportunity, explore this new sense of who you are and how you want to show up in the world with this new sense of understanding of who you are. This is a brand new opportunity. It's going to feel challenging because it looks like a part of something is ending. But what is happening is that it is opening the door to this whole new opportunity. It feels like a sense of freedom, right? So I truly hope this helped. This looks like an incredible month, an incredible month. So I hope you have a good one, and we will see you next time.